There's been a bit of a debate lately about the current region system used by GT Sport. Now, the main, just the short version is the EMEA region is too big and it's too hard to qualify. So we'll go over and explain what's going on and what's changed from before. So the 2020 series for this year, it was released after Sydney, and there were some murmurs immediately straight away. One of the big ones was that there were too many races for the drivers, but we did talk about that last time we were in this, and I should be able to get that up on YouTube for you too. But the next sore topic for some people was this region thing. So participating regions, there they are. You can see the EMEA region is Europe, Middle East and Africa. 31 countries for that region. And then the next biggest is Central South America, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15. So basically half the size. And then North America's got the US and Canada. Asia's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then Oceania, where I am, 2. So you can see there's quite a disparity between the sizes of each region. They're not. There's nowhere are they anywhere near equal. Now this is a new system. There used to be only 3. Yeah, this was not something I was sort of aware of until this year. You might remember happened back in 2018. So that's where it's dated. They actually separated matchmaking into 5 regions. Because the reason they said was for better online experience and racing for players who are geographically located in very distant places. We will be changing the matchmaking regions from the current 3 regions, Europe, Middle East, Africa, North Centrals and South Americas, and Asia, Oceania. So they were the old 3, I'm guessing. And this is what they went to. EMEA, North America, Central, South America, Asia, and Oceania. Exactly what we've got now, or 2 years later for this 2020 thing. And that was, I think that was originally just for daily races and the FIA. It will be possible to join the same race multiple times in each round of FIA. When joining the same race, players will receive points only for the race where they attain the highest results. These will be tested from the daily races beginning Wednesday, 5th of December, and plan to be fully implemented from the start of the exhibition season 4 on the Wednesday 19th. So yeah, it was just for daily races. And it's really interesting to see that this didn't work. Big reason was us here in Oceania. We would get on, there was no one to play against. Obviously the rest of these regions are big enough that they can support themselves, but we had no one playing. You would get on daily races at a decent time. There'd be 2 or 3 people in the lobby. It was really bad. So they flipped it back. And we really didn't hear anything about it for a long, long time. I was talking to one of the world finalists on Twitter. And I asked him, what's the problem? So what actually started the thread was this initial post. I've seen a few people post it out, but it basically went, I can't believe their current EMEA manufacturers leader, Jim Bracer, wouldn't qualify for a world tour under the current system. This is ludicrous. Something must be done. And it showed that there he is, the Williams driver leading the manufacturers, and this is how it went. So he's an EMEA. He's got 95.5 points. But because Oceania, Asia, and Central and South America have more points, he would fail to qualify. Now, everyone says he's the fastest Honda driver or whatever. And as you can see, for Honda, there were faster people apparently, or people with more points than Bracer here. So this sort of got things going. People on Twitter started posting out with this clip and tagging Gran Turismo, and I sort of asked him. I said, well, how do we? What's the problem? Like, how do we fix this? So he even posted and retweeted and saying, this is the proof of how hard the EMEA region currently is in the FIA Championships. It will be worse once the official season starts, with the majority of players coming back racing. Getting good results such as other countries is becoming a worthless challenge. So I said, to clarify, you wouldn't qualify in this instance because you are not amongst the 3 highest? And he says yes. And then Maurice chimed in saying, why even attempt to qualify? I thought that's a very, I don't know, that's a very, I don't like that attitude. I understand that the challenge is there, and it seems sort of pointless to enter into this, especially if you feel like you're the fastest and you're not going to qualify because the region is holding you back. But yeah, that sort of attitude I really can't really get behind. So anyway, he did reply. He said, only top 3 regions qualify with most points. And I said, so is there a solution you'd like to see implemented, or is it just due to the size of the region? Maurice said it was due to the region. And I get that it's the region he's in, but Jim Bracer said, maybe going back to 3 regions. And I get the impression no one's really sort of looked for a solution to this. They don't like what's happening. So instead of EMEA, it'll be EMEA, North and South America, and Asia Oceania. This would equalize the competition in these 3 blocks. Yeah, and this is something I've thought about and looked at and thought, you know, because it means there was a guy in Oceania. If we have a look at the point system, so there was a guy from Asia and a guy from Oceania. So if they were put back together, there would only be 1 driver. And then Central and South America back with EMEA, he still wouldn't be the highest driver in his region. And then there'd be North America. So in that instance, you'd get a North American driver, a Central and South American driver, and a driver from Asia. He still wouldn't qualify. It might change the way the points are sort of equalized, but that's the way I see it. So I'm not sure that going back to 3 would actually change much at all. I just don't get. I get that it's easy. I get that it's sort of taking away. I can see what they're getting at. They're going, look, Oceania is too small. We've lost a spot now, because if they were together, I would qualify. But if Central and South America and Europe, if we go back to all 3 like it used to be, and we go off Central and South America having a 102, he still wouldn't qualify. Yeah, the site, but is that's what I can't, I'm struggling to grasp. I get that it's big. I understand that it's really big. But I'm trying, no one's really explained to me why the size is the problem. Is it, like, what about, why is being a bigger region a disadvantage over being a smaller region? Obviously, the first thing that comes to mind is it's easier to qualify in Oceania. But I still don't make the connection. Because if we go back to 3, he's still not the fastest. So he still isn't going, in this instant, he still isn't going to go. That's what I'm trying. I don't understand the region. Obviously, there's more. Yeah, the more drivers, you're right. But then if there were more drivers, wouldn't the points system make it? But yeah, that's the other thing. Like, I'll try and draw it out. So Dragon says, if go back to 3, the North have the same point if they have now, because then they need to race against him. Oh yeah, okay, I forgot that point of it. All right, yeah, I get what you're saying. All right. Here in Europe, there are more faster drivers maybe than in other regions, and that makes a difference. I know it's easier for me to get wins in the USA region then in the... Okay. Alright. That's a good point. Thank you for explaining that, because that makes more sense to me now. That was sort of something I wasn't getting at. But I will go over this again for those at home, and we'll get to the bottom of it. So in the old system, let's visually get it out there for people. In the old system, you have these two together, and you have these two together, and then you have North America. So that's the old system. But what happens is when you separate them, you lose all the drivers racing against the European drivers, and if he's faster, the argument would be they wouldn't have those points in the first place, which makes sense. But let's just forget that for an instance. I know that's hard to do, but we'll forget that. What I was saying was, in the new system, he's still the slowest. So there's the slowest there, and there's the slowest there. And if we go back to 3, as you can see, you would pick, it would be, I'll get a different color. In the old system, it would be an Asian driver. If we're going off like the points like this, it would then be Asia and Oceania were together. Well, then he would join. Well, no, because then it would be 102, and then it would be North America. So in that instance, you get one region that technically, by points, had a slower racer. But you then argue the 102 wouldn't exist for a Central and South American driver, because they would be going up against the faster European guys, and technically it'd probably be this 95 that wins. Makes sense. Makes sense. It's a hard one, and there's a reason I think it might be happening. So yeah, I'm just having a guess at that. They've got Region 1, Europe, Middle East, Region 2, Asia, Oceania, Region 3, North. I think that's what's happening. I think the FIA have come in and said, we want to change it up. Now, I understand the issues. Thank you again, Dragon, for explaining that one a little bit better to me. I mean, it is a big region, so it is going to be hard, but I think the problem is if you then start to split the regions up, if you had like 10 regions, like if you split the European region up a little bit, you're either going to have just all European drivers taking the manufacturer slots because only the 3 best go, and so regions like Asia, Australia, Africa, those we're never going to get represented. Obviously we got the Nations Cup, but I would argue that the FIA at the same time would probably be going for diversity as well. I don't think it'd be a good look if it was just all Europeans at the GT World Finals, because that's what makes it so cool. There's people from all over the world, participating. So it's a hard one. It's a very, very hard one. Someone will miss out, and it will be probably someone from Europe, possibly, now, because there's 5 instead of 3. And it also means, though, qualifying in Oceania is a lot easier, because we were with Asia, and Asia are really good. So it means smaller countries like us, because compared to the rest of the world, we're tiny. We'll get a little bit more recognition, but it also means at the same time, somewhere like Asia and Europe, they might actually miss out. So yeah, it's a tough one. Lots of races though, lots of stages. I'm sure we might. I don't know if we'll see changes too much to this during, because this is pretty much set in stone. But I wouldn't take it away from them if something happens that they change it. But I think for those out there that especially at the top level, that are complaining about it. They're I don't think we're going to see any changes this year. Dragon saying they need to look at the time zone and make region off of that. Yeah, that would be interesting. Timeanddate.com giving us times. So how many time zones do we have? 25 time zones. So you could probably, well, you know what's easier? You know what's really easy to split those regions up into? 5 different time zone regions. So 1, 2, 3. You'd probably go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you split countries. But I don't even know if time zones would work. It could, because then. But then, do you allow someone from the west side of Australia qualify and the east side doesn't? Because if you sort of split them up, I don't know. That's interesting. You're saying maybe they can do what I did, more regions, but then the top 3 of every region need to do different seasons to make how they are the top. Or, I mean, yeah, it gets very difficult. I'm sure there's lots of different solutions. I don't know what the perfect one is. I haven't really thought about it. So it could just be that, or what could be a solution to this is, so we've got 5 regions. That means we'll have 5 fastest drivers per manufacturer. So we'll get the 5 fastest. You could either go, so you got 5 of the fastest, and then the 5 of the second fastest from each region. So you have, and then you go 1, 2, how many? So you do a 15 car race. Each region has 3 drivers, their top 3, and then you can do like over, I don't know, you can do 1 or 2 events, and the top 3 drivers, but only a region can't be entered twice. So if, say, Europe gets, after the 2, say, playoff events, you have 1 and 2 is Europe and 3 is Asia. The guy who came second in Europe can't qualify. So 1 Europe, 3rd Asia, and whoever came 4th, let's say it was someone from North America, they qualify. That'd be sort of my sort of solution to it, just thinking off the top of my head. Don't know, but it's a hard one, and I think the FIA have had a say in this, so that's just the way it's going to be, I think. But if anyone does have any solutions or any ideas, I'd love to hear them. You can tweet them to me, send a message to me on Discord or on Facebook as well, wherever you're watching from. All the links to that should be in the video description. And yeah, this is a tough one for GT Sport, and we'll just have to wait and see how the next season unfolds. What happens? I don't know. It's going to be tough for Europe, but they're just going to have to dig in there and do their best at the moment, because I don't think this is changing anytime soon.